Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Bolin. Thank you all for joining me. So a group of radical communist activists stood outside of country music star Jason Aldean's concert that he was giving in Chicago and burned an American flag. And while they were burning the American flag, they stated or began to chant their song, Try That in a Small Town, is a piece of fascist SISHIT. Okay. Now, when I read that and I saw the article and I read the article and I saw the picture, it did not surprise me at all. And the reason why it did not surprise me, because there has been for quite some time, there is and has been for quite some time, some very radical communist groups who literally call themselves communists. They're not trying to hide it. They're not trying to veil it or cover it up. They truly are communists and they hate this country. So this whole idea, before I even get into reading this article, this whole idea that communism is some kind of conspiracy theory created by conservatives or the far right and all that is a bunch of nonsense. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over this article like I do like I always do. I'm going to go over this article, go over the information, and I want to also read to you guys a list of communist organizations that's been a part of America for quite some time. Black Lives Matter and Antifa is just two of the most common ones. Okay. So we're going to get right into this because this is a dangerous, dangerous situation. Our country is in trouble, and we better wake up, man, and smell the coffee. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, it don't even matter. What matters is that communists are not what you think they are, and that system is not what you think it is. But let's go on. So let's get right into it. A group of communist activists burned the American flag outside a recent Jason Aldean concert in Chicago, calling the country singer's hit single "Try That in a Small Town" a pile of fascist SHIT. That's what they call it, a pile of fascist, you know what, okay? And let me say this before I even go any further in this article. I did a video about Jason Aldean's song several months ago. I literally sat and I listened to the song and I watched the video. And my conclusion was that it was not a racist song. I didn't see any racism in the song or any indication of racism. And I didn't see any racism or any indication of racism in the video. But of course, the left is going to try to keep that stirred up. I mean, it's this back and forth thing, right, left. It's annoying. It's annoying, but it's just what you got to push back. If you don't say anything, if you don't give any information that contradicts that leftist liberal worldview, then people are going to hear one worldview. They need to hear both worldviews and make a decision for their own selves. Okay, but yeah, his song became a huge hit. I listened to the song, I watched the video all the way through, and I concluded that it was not racist. And I gave my answers for that. You guys can watch that video in my list of videos that I did some time ago. But yeah, So now I guess this group somehow is deciding to say, look, we don't like you, bro. We don't like your song, and we are going to attack you, which is interesting because they attacked the American flag. That shows you how brainwashed they are. But let's go on. The Revolution Club of Chicago, which describes itself as communist on its official website, took credit for the protests, even posting video footage of their flag burning on its X or Twitter account. Okay. One protester can be heard shouting through a megaphone, quote, "Guess what, Jason?" Now, this is the part here that got my attention. "Guess what, Jason? We'll try that in a small town. We'll try that in a big city. And we will try it right in front of your concert," end quote. I find that interesting because if you look at the video, that if you listen to the music video and you watch the music video, and you listen to the lyrics of what Jason is saying, what it seems that he's saying to me in the video is, if all you guys want to rob stores, you want to rob people and loot and rob and shoot people and innocent people and so forth and commit crimes, don't try that. Try that in a small town. It's going to be a problem. So you see scenes of these looters and so forth doing all this kind of chaos, right? Causing all kinds of problems. Now here you have this communist group saying, guess what, Jason? We'll try that in a small town. We'll try that in the big city. You know what they're saying? We'll loot. We'll set fires to cars. We'll beat people up. We'll do all that, and we will do it in a small city, and we will do it in a big city, and we'll do it right in front of a concert. In other words, they're saying to Jason and to you and I, guess what? We are going to commit acts of crime. We're going to commit acts of crime in your small town and in your big city. No city is off limits for them. This is how communists think. This is what they're really all about. Because they've been brainwashed and conditioned to believe that capitalism is the worst thing in the world, and that capitalism is the reason why there's so much poverty and so much pain in the world, and it has to be destroyed by any means necessary. That is a Karl Marx ideology that comes from Karl Marx's Communist Manifestos that he co-wrote with his partner Engel in 1848. He used the term violent revolution to bring down what he believed to be the problem of the world's, he believed to be the world's problems, which was capitalism. The capitalists are causing all these problems. We have to destroy them by any means necessary. And that means committing acts of violence. So people who follow this communist worldview have been incited and brainwashed and conditioned to think, hey, we're going to commit any and all acts of violence if we need to tear the system down. They are under mind control. These individual protesters think they're doing the right thing, but they are nothing more than useful idiots. I'm not making that word useful idiots up. That is a term that former communist dictator Lenin stated. Okay? Lenin himself stated in his writings that these people who follow the communist ideology, who follow the communist worldview, are nothing more than useful idiots. They think they're being idealistic. They think they're doing the right thing. But Lenin understood that they're just being used by the communist controllers, if you will, which Lenin was one of them, okay? One of the premier creators of the new different forms of communism, particularly violent communism, okay? And he understood if he could brainwash and condition people like these young people here, but like the young people back in his days in Russia, if he can condition and brainwash a lot of the criminals and a lot of the people that don't have any education, a lot of people that don't have any homes, if he can brainwash and condition them to believe that communism is the best thing for them, he would do it. And they would receive this and they would accept this as factual and say, oh man, we need to, this communism is really what we need right now. So they follow that pattern, they follow that brainwashing tactic, and they think they're doing the right thing. They're being actually idealistic, but in reality, they're nothing more than useful idiots. They're being used by the establishment to push their communist agenda. And this is exactly what this communist group is doing. They're nothing more than useful idiots. Communism is real in this country. It's not a conspiracy theory. Let's go on. They're basically saying we'll try that in a small town. We'll try that in a big city. And we will try it right here in front of your concert, which they did by burning the flag, American flag. They're basically saying we're gonna burn down everything. We are going to do exactly what you said in your video we shouldn't do. We're going to be criminals, basically, because we need to tear down the system. We need to destroy it and rebuild it again. Useful idiots, useful idiots. Let's go on. Among their chants was, quote, F the USA and all its might. Once again, brainwashing. Brainwashed. These people are brainwashed. Useful idiots, F the US and all its might, which I also find interesting because all this F the US and all its might and all this rigmarole and hate that they have for this country, usually they tend to still stay here. That's what gets me. I mean, you hate America so much. You've been conditioned by the Marxist creators that are socially re-engineering your mind to accept this idea. You accepted it, but yet at the same time, you're still here in America. It's interesting to me that how a person can be so full of hate for this country and still stay here. I find that interesting. Why don't you join a communist country like North Korea and then see how communism really is, okay? Join in with North Korea, and then you'll find out yourself just how oppressive communism is. Join in with China, and you will find out how oppressive communism is. Because yes, China is a communist country. Now, somebody will argue, no, Mr. Bowling, they're capitalists. No, boo-boo. The Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, is communist at its core. Okay, what they did was when pure communism under Mao Zedong failed miserably, and tens of millions of people lost their lives through starvation and other means, they asked the monetary assistance of America, and they began to adopt America's capitalist principles. So the companies and corporations and businesses in China allowed the Communist Chinese Party allowed them the freedom to expand their businesses. They loosened their restrictions on them, but they still had absolute control. Any money that they made, they had to submit it to the Chinese Communist Party. Chinese Communist Party had and still does have absolute control of everything they do. So it's still a communist country. And if these individuals were to join communist China, they would be under the constant surveillance of that particular country. And if they decide that they're Christians or claim to be Christians, dumbed down Christians, and they go to their country thinking that communism is the way to go, you're going to be persecuted because you're going to have to go underground unless you're a state-sanctioned church where you have to preach and teach based on what the communist regime wants you to preach and teach. Then that's different. But if you're going to be a pure Christian, you're going to preach Jesus, and you're going to preach the book of Revelation and end times event. No. You can't do that over there. You're going to have to do it underground because you will be persecuted. Okay. So these people are clearly talking about F the U.S. and all its might are clearly brainwashed to the point where they just hate America. And yet at the same time, from what I'm understanding, they're not leaving America. It's a contradiction, bro. Don't you think? Let's go on. Amazing. Several Chicago Police Department officers eventually showed up and dispersed the group without further incidents or arrests, according to a TMZ report. Aldean was performing Saturday at Chicago's Tinley Park. Try that in a small town, rocketed to the top of multiple charts earlier this year, despite efforts by the corporate media to silence the country star. Paramount-owned CMT censored the song's music video, pulling it from broadcast without explanation. Of course, other news outlets attempted to smear the song as racist and anti-black for its condemnation of the leftist rioting and lawlessness that took place during the summer of 2020, just prior to the presidential election. And let me speak on that. I've gotten a lot of criticism for this. I don't care because it's reality. This is what I have observed in the 2020 riots. It was all from the left. I didn't see any people from the extreme right. Okay, the extreme right. I didn't see any people from the extreme right initiating any riots. Anybody that I saw from the right, they were always defending themselves from these leftist loonies. It was never, from what I have observed, anybody from the right initiating riots. They were defending themselves against these useful idiots that thought they were doing something right. Okay, that's what they would do. That's what I saw. Those riots were from the left, the radical left, whichever one you want to call it, but it was from the left. Okay, it was from the left. The lawlessness was from the left. Okay, and that's just the way it was. So I wanted to say something about that because, as this paragraph says, other news outlets attempted to smear the song as racist and anti-black for its condemnation of the leftist rioting and lawlessness. Of course, they need to condemn that. Okay, because the song, if you watch the song and you listen to the song and you watch the video, that is what the song, the lyrics, and the video is condemning. It's condemning the radical leftist rioting and lawlessness, which was initiated by the left, from my observations. So why would the media want to smear that as racist? Why would they want to say that's racist? Well, we can get into all of that. I know that's political. I know it's political. People fall for it all the time. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm not going to say I'm sorry. I am not sorry. I'm not falling for it. That is a trick of the devil, and I'm not falling for it. I could go on and on and on with this, but I got some stuff I want to read you guys in the ending of his article. Article goes on to say, among those that have defended Aldean's freedom of speech is former President Donald Trump, who praised the country star in a Truth Social post, writing that Aldean is, quote, a fantastic guy who just came out with a great new song. Support Jason all the way, MAGA. And that is the end of that article right there. But I find that very, very interesting, to say the least. But I am not the least bit surprised because communism is real in this country. And regardless of what these groups call themselves, whether they're Black Lives Matter and Antifa, they are communist front groups who every time you see them, they're involved in some kind of acts of violence. Why? Because that is their tactic. It's never unity. It's violence and chaos in order to tear the system that they've been brainwashed into believing is bad for everybody. Okay, let's tear it down and rebuild it. Some of them probably mean well, but they've been brainwashed. They've been conditioned to believe that. It's a lie. It's a ruse. It's a cover-up. Just about every last one of these people that are in these groups have no idea about the history of communism. Some estimates have estimated that over 100 million have died in communist regimes all over the world since 1917, because that's when the first communist country was built, and that was in Russia. The Bolshevik Revolution that was initiated in 1917, which made Russia the first official communist nation. But ever since 1917, up until now, up until maybe like the early 90s or early 2000s, many researchers have stated that over 100 million people have died in all the different communist countries combined all over the world through mass murders and starvation and putting in concentration camps. But other researchers estimate over 200 million have died. That's probably a more accurate estimate as the years go by. Because in communist countries, the communist regimes will either put you in jail, put you in a concentration re-education camp to brainwash you into accepting communism again. Okay, that is the best thing for you. Okay, or they'll kill you. Firing range. Why? Because you disagree with the worldview of the communist regime. Not because you committed a crime per se, as we understand crime to be. The crime to the communist regime is disagreeing with their worldview. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sounds real familiar, doesn't it? Okay, let's sum this video up. I want to read to you a group of present day communist groups that are in this country right now. And I want to read you guys this from this book here that I purchased several years ago called Give Me Liberty, Not Marxism. Okay, I want to read this list to you because there's these names. I mean, you know, I can't remember them off the top of my head. So I want to read these names to you. And you guys can buy this book. It's a great book. It really lays out the communist regime and the Marxist regime. It really lays it out real well. It's highly documented. So I highly recommend it. Okay. First one is Communist Party USA, also known as CPUSA, Communist Party USA. That's one of the they're part of America. Have been since, I believe, the early 1900s. Committees of Correspondence for Democracy and Socialism, also acronym CCDS. Freedom Road Socialist Organization, FRSO. Freedom Road Socialist Organization. Some of you probably have seen that somewhere, okay? Democratic Socialists of America, DSA. What is it? AOC. She's a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Basically a communist. That's what she is. Okay. And then there's some other ones here. It's Socialist Party USA, which is SPUSA. Socialist Workers Party, which can be which is the acronym for that is SWP. Freedom Socialist Party, FCP. Workers' World Party, WWP, Party for Socialism and Liberation, PSL, Freedom Road Socialist Organization, Fight Back, That's FRSO-FB. Wow. Solidarity League of Revolutionaries for a New America. LRNA, International Socialist Organization, ISO, and Socialist Alternative, SA. There are other communist parties in America that, like the Socialists and the CPUSA, seek to influence the Democratic Party. This is what the author says here. He's arguing that these socialist and communist groups are seeking to infiltrate the Democratic Party. He goes into detail about that. I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to name some of these lists. He says the list notably includes the Party of Communists USA. The list, let me read that over. That list notably includes the Party of Communists USA, or PC USA, and get this, the Revolutionary Communist Party, which is REVCOM, RevCom. And I think that group that literally burned the American flag outside of Jason's concert in Chicago was that particular group. But yeah, that's just a few of the names of groups, communist and socialist groups that have been a part of America for quite a long time. Communism is not a conspiracy theory. It is a dangerous, bloodthirsty ideology that has a history of taking the lives of, according to some researchers, hundreds of millions of people. And these are the people that are in the country. And they have said right there, we're going to try that in a small town and in a big city. We're going to try it. In other words, we're going to be criminals. You can't stop us. You can't stop us, Jason. People have idealistic worldviews, but it's best to know the history of the worldview that you're about to put yourself into before you start putting yourself into it. I'm not saying that these people that are doing this, that are actually doing this, are just evil, satanic people per se. I believe they've been brainwashed. I believe they've been socially engineered to accept this worldview. But it is a worldview based on lies and deception. And when it is all over, if in fact our country falls to communism, okay, when the true communists come out, they're going to get rid of them. You were useful idiots. We used you. We don't need you no more. We wipe our hands of you. Put these fools in jail. Or kill them. We don't need you. But that's what I wanted to bring out right there. That communism is real. It's not some, let me end the video on this. It's not this idea back in the 80s under the Reagan administration that people have. Well, communism was ended back in the 80s, when Reagan said, Gorbachev, tear that wall down, whatever, along that line. And people was like, oh, well, communism ended in Russia, woo, 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 stuff like that, okay. So people figured, with the help of the media, that communism was over, that was it. But they failed to realize that it simply just morphed into something else. Okay, it was never over. In fact, it was a part of America even before the 80s, all the way back to the early 1900s, 1920s, all the way up. The Communist Party of USA became a part of America all the way back in the 1920s. They were already infiltrating America from day one. Just saying, I could go on and on with this, but this thing is real. But there is solutions. The solution is recognize the policies and worldviews of these particular politicians and don't vote for them. That's the solution. But if you want free handouts with everything, you're being duped. When they tell you we're going to give you this and give you this, free this, free this, that's a communist ideology to pull you in. It's a Trojan horse to pull you in to make you think that everything's going to be okay. But when it actually takes control, everything ain't going to be okay. And history have shown that to be the case. What's any different from America? In fact, it's going to be worse because they're going to use a computer chip or microchip to be implanted in your head to control your thoughts. I could go on with that. That's the ultimate form of communism. But I could go on, but I'm not going to go no further than that. I'm just putting that little seed in your mind to get you to thinking about the people you vote for and the people you support. Just saying. Not saying anybody on this video is doing that. But I'm just trying to show you what they use to pull people in. Communism is based on lies and deception. In order to push their worldview, they have to lie to you. They don't believe in right or wrong. They don't have morals and values because they believe the whole idea of right and wrong is outdated, and they don't believe in it. They believe they've evolved above the concepts of right or wrong. The phrase "by any means necessary" is a communist phrase. The phrase "might makes right" is a communist phrase. The phrase "order whatever comes out of the barrel of a gun" is a communist phrase. That's communism. Okay, so yeah, man. I mean, it can go on and on and on and on and on, but they are a part of our country. They have been for decades, and I feel it's high time for American citizens to wake up and listen to what these politicians are saying when they're giving their spin in the campaign trail. Whether they're Republican or Democrat, but mainly the so-called Democrats and the progressive Democrats in particular, because that's just another name for them. We progressive Democrats, but in reality, their worldview is a communist worldview. They're just using propaganda, mind control, and deception through legislation to push their worldview rather than violence. Said that before, and I say it again. So that's what that's all about. What do you guys think about this situation? You think these communist people are here today? Or do you think that this is a dangerous trend? I do. And I feel that it's time for America to wake up, expose who these people are, and do not vote for them to keep them in office. They're keeping these people in office. Let's vote them out of office and put some people that actually love America into office through our votes. But that's what I have to say about that. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.